How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi, host of Tier Talk. Great questions sent our way. Gange, when's the best time to approach an officer or a peer staff member who you feel is overly involved with the inmates, a little too friendly? And it's a great question, and we're going to get to it right when I come back from our supporters. Guys, if you haven't, please subscribe, hit that notification, like. Don't forget, hit that bell. The bell's going to notify you every time I post up a video. So stand by for our sponsors. When we get back from our breaks, we're going to discuss when's a good time to approach a peer staff member when you feel that they're being overly involved or too friendly with inmates. Stand by for our sponsors.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Being a corrections officer takes its toll on even the strongest individuals. The constant need to perform at the highest level, putting your life at risk in a hostile environment, and the mental scarring of traumatic experiences. 31% of corrections officers show symptoms of PTSD, and 66% of people with PTSD also suffer with a substance abuse problem. The Transformations First Responders program is specially designed to help veterans and officers heal from the grips of addiction and PTSD in a comfortable, supportive, and serene setting. You are not alone. If you have questions about the services we offer, give us a call at 866-762-8454 to get more information on this affordable and life-changing program.
Thank you guys for listening to our sponsors. This is a very tough question. You know, Gange, what should you do if you feel that your coworker is kind of crossing the line with the inmates, whether they're undue or overly friendly? And again, it's a feeling. So we're not in the know. You know, we can't prove that the officer is being undue or overly friendly, or that the staff member is being undue or overly friendly. It's just a feeling that you have. Now remember, knowing it is knowing it beyond a reasonable doubt. At that point, if you know it, you got to act immediately. There is no hesitation. You know, if you know that this officer is overly involved with these inmates, they're undue, they're overly friendly, you have to take it to the next level. You have to report that and then let the chips fall where they may. So again, the action on that end is immediate. You know equals being immediate. And the feeling is tough. The feeling makes us hesitant because we don't know. It's a feeling. It's ambiguous. Remember, when it comes to manipulating staff, there's a process. And we don't want to wait to the end result. We don't want to wait for the staff member to be compromised and for that end result to happen before we decide to do something, because God knows what that end result's going to be. It could be a weapon. It could be an escape. Look what we had just happen in New Mexico with the escape of the 3 inmates from the female employee. You know, you have compromised staff. So we want to be preventive. We don't want it to get to the point and say, now we have definitive proof, because God forbid what that proof's going to be. So why the staff members being compromised, we watching this may be thinking, what's really going on? I have this feeling that something's going on, but again, it's just a feeling. I can't prove anything yet. But the thing is with us, in order to survive this type of profession that we've chosen, you have to listen to your instincts. Those instincts are based on experience. You know the environment. So we want to address this staff member. We want to tell them how we feel. We want them to understand our perspective, but we will also want to give them a chance to speak their perspective. And we kind of want to do this as quick as possible, because if they are doing something wrong, we don't want to let them be doing that for a while, because trust me guys, after a while people start justifying their behavior, and at that point when you go to correct them, they become resistant or they become defensive. So we want to address it immediately when we feel something's up, and that's during the act. not waiting for the end result. And again, what makes us hesitant is because we're afraid that we're wrong. What if we are wrong? What happens to the relationship between me and my partner? And that's tough. But you have to look at it from the other perspective. What if you're right? What if you're right? What's the end result? So again, we know we have to make this approach, because the end result of you being right outweighs the potential of ill feelings. So you have to make this approach. So when you're thinking through it, it's about how I'm going to make this approach. How can I make this approach seem professional, if you will? So definitely don't want to do it in front of the inmates. You may not want to do it in front of support staff. You may want to do this between you and that individual, because again, it's a feeling, and you're trying to understand what this feeling is. So you're trying to get the facts. So whether you do it in the break area where there's no inmates around, or if you're cool with the person, you can maybe make a phone call, hang out outside of work. But you're trying to understand each other's perspective. So they'll tell you what they got going on. If they justify their behavior, they'll try to tell you why, and then you ultimately are going to make a determination. But again, you're trying to get yourself knowledge. You're trying to find out why you have this feeling. And again, we're trying to make it past the feeling. We're trying to put us in the know, which may require that immediate action. Part of the email mentioned, I'll just go to a supervisor, and the supervisor will definitely give me some good advice. But I want to tell you the perspective of a supervisor here. Supervisors, they can give advice, but you can ask them something in the hopes of getting advice that may compel them to act, because they're supervisors and they're required to, and they're required to, and there's a big liability if they don't act. So you go to that supervisor and you say, hey, I want to get your advice on this. I feel this person's doing something they shouldn't be doing. What should I do? Well, at that point, the supervisor is probably going to act and say, well, you know what? I'm going to have this looked into now. The fact that you told me this, I have to take it to the next level. Well, I didn't want you to do that. Yeah, but at this point, you really can't tell me what I need to do. The fact that you told me this means I have to act. So if this person couldn't handle it with that individual on a one-on-one basis, and they brought it to that supervisor's attention, this situation may require the supervisor to look into it. So again, the option would be to try to handle it one-on-one with that individual. If, again, the feeling's rather ambiguous and you don't know if the person is doing anything wrong. It's just a feeling. But, as I said, once it gets to that level where you have to act immediately. And some people will say, well, I'm going to go to my peers for support and ask them what they would do. But now that's an issue, because what about if you're wrong and there's a rumor mill going around the facility now? So I think the best way to approach it is always going to come down to that one-on-one conversation between you and that individual over a gut feeling. Because again, we're trying to catch the act, why it's happening, and not waiting for the end result, because the end result can compromise the whole facility. So again, it's just a quick dialogue. Guys, I'd love to get your comments on this. What would your approach be? A feeling versus a no. And what I mean by no, K-N-O-W, know beyond reasonable doubt. So the question here was, do I know the officer's doing something wrong? Or do I feel that the officer's doing something wrong? And will that require a different approach? That's the key. Does knowing and feeling require a different approach? So I love your thoughts. As always, guys, the show is Tear Talk. It's hot, so forgive me if I was mumbling some words. It's hot today. It's like 94 degrees out. But as always, guys, the show is Tear Talk. If you haven't, please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post up a video. As always, guys, stay safe.